Welcome back to Inked Up Cycles, guys. Today's video, I'm going to try to get down to the frame on this thing. I want to take everything out of it so that I can pressure wash this and get it ready for paint. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to do it today, but we'll get down as far as we can before I call it quits. All right, let's get into it. Alright, got the cables out. Next thing we're going to do is disconnect the rest of the electrical lines going to this drivetrain, and then we can work on the hard parts, getting everything disassembled. Alright, got this assembled. Times when this stuff's on there for so long, you just want to come back off. Alright, we got the hot motor mount out, and of course it's not going to go anywhere because it's still bolted in by the transmission and by the front. Even when we get this all the way loose, without taking this transmission out, this engine will not fall out of this thing, even if you wanted it to. So it's going to take a little bit of work. mostly loose. Take off the front mount. I gotta take off the bolt, and then we can get up this whole thing here. Yeah, take this exhaust off before I pull this guy up. Oh, of course, it decided to strip. The exhaust off. Let's see if we can get this out right now. Nope, not a chance. Alright. Next, I'll take these lines loose. You just push in. Nothing fancy. Alright, both of those loose. Next one I gotta do is this one. And then I gotta take this rear wheel off. Loosened it. Next thing we're gonna do, take these off so we can get to the pivot shaft. That one's loose. Alright, come on. That sound means the bolt wants to break. And I don't want it to break inside of there because I don't want to have to extract it. Somebody drove this thing in crooked, so I'm gonna have to go through all those threads. It's not a big deal. Next, we're going to take this rear wheel out. Alright, let's go ahead and let this drop down just a little bit. Enough to take the tension off of this. There we go. This wants to be difficult, so I'm gonna have to take the belt guards off of this thing. just like that. Got the wheel out. Alright, let's go ahead and take the splash guard off the back, and we can get the rest of this stuff off and take that oil bag out. Okay. The next thing I want to do is disconnect all of this stuff, and then we're close to ready to get the rest of the stuff loose. I might have to leave this one connected because it is just frozen on there. We're going to disconnect speed sensor. Hopefully. Now this stuff wants to come loose. Let that stuff sit for a little bit. That is 6-in-1 lubricant. It's like WD-40. What it's going to do is let me be able to remove these connectors. They have a little rubber seal on the end of them, and when they get dry and they've been on for years and years, they basically glue themselves to the connector. So you have to give them a little bit of help. Spray a little bit of that stuff in there and let it sit for a few minutes, and then you should be able to take it off. So now we're going to do is go ahead and start getting everything else ready to take this oil bag out, because that's the next big thing we need to do before we take the rest of the drivetrain out. Alright, cut this line here. This is the drain from the oil tank. We gotta cut that because it's not a connector. We gotta cut the clamp so we can take it off. It's going to leak the rest of whatever's in there out. Not a big deal. I also have to cut loosen these up, and then we should be able to slide it out. go. Put this guy up. Disconnect the flag panel. And go ahead and disconnect this wire because it goes to the regulator. That way we could take the regulator off of the front. And we're going to disconnect these two wires up here on top of the starter that go to the battery. Now we can take this starter out of the way. Oh, look at that, a battery bolt. What usually happens is somebody drops it and it gets wedged here. If you're lucky. If you're not lucky, it'll get wedged right here and pop a hole through your belt. Alright. Pull it out. Next thing we're going to do is cut everything that's holding this harness in place and get this out of the way. Here. It's already cut. Alright. I'll do it the right way. I'll take these off. Alright. Looks like the harness is mostly loose. These two things holding it up. Not a big deal. Let's see if we can get these connectors out. Alright, well, since it wants to be stubborn, I'll take the sensor out of the transmission. Take this one off of here. thing is just, I'm gonna need a new one, because it just spun the whole thing. Got it. I actually broke it off because it didn't want to spin. It's stuck in the socket. Awesome. This side. Disconnect all of that. Let's pull this out of here. Now we got the regulator off. Now I should be able to take this harness out of the way. Get this brake line loose. Alright. Get the side of that brake line loose. Next thing we gotta do is loosen these straps so I can get this off. Alright, went ahead and moved the straps out of the way so we can get this. And this is really hard to get to if you don't take the master cylinder out of the way, which I didn't. There we go. I think every other bolt that I'm going to touch on this thing is going to be stripped. Next thing we're gonna do, disconnect this transmission. Means we gotta pull this pivot shaft out and take these bolts off of the engine here. And then we should be able to slide that out, and then there, and then it'll come out. The transmission mount in here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's about 100 degrees and 100% humidity here in Texas, and I feel like I'm melting out here. Now I can go ahead and rip this pivot shaft out. Alright, gotta get another wrench to hold the other side. Oh, wow, that does not want to come off. Ugh. Alright, well, ran into a little bit of a problem. This pinion shaft is frozen in here, so solid that it decided to burn up my M18 half-inch impact, which now I gotta send in for repair. So, with that said, I can't get the transmission out, which means I can't get the engine out. So we're gonna have to go ahead and end the video here. The next video, we'll take it apart the rest of the way and get this frame cleaned up. Alright, well, thank you guys for stopping back in. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and like, and there'll be some more videos coming your way. Alright, thanks.